Let's do the astrology for the month of September 2024. The gauntlet has been thrown, and that glove has been picked up. We are in a month where the details matter and become even more clear. The challenges of August were confronted and put into some new places. September reminds us how fast things can shift with the powerful influences of a Mercury retrograde and Venus activating the power of the feminine. We are witnessing a revolution of sorts, and one that is not going to back down. The power has returned to the people, and there are now the resources, for women especially, to gather together and confront the toxicity of what was threatening them and our very survival. Once a woman decides, you will not stop that woman from her intended outcome. Humanity often mistakes feminine flow with weakness, but that powerful force has become a storm that has gathered up tremendous amounts of energy and is now preparing to be unleashed out into the world that threatened to try to take away from women what was a long and hard-fought battle from our great-great-grandmothers. The women today have not just their own energy, but the energy of other alive women backing them. But they have the rage and anger of the ancestors also fueling them into action to demand that their rights be returned and even expanded. Uranus begins its retrograde cycle at the end of the sign of Taurus, and Pluto will back up into Capricorn for one final transit before it leaps into Aquarius on November 19th. It will be there setting the stage for a powerful renewal and shift until March 9th of 2043. Let's just say that Uranus and Taurus in a retrograde cycle is going to help us see our past with renewed eyes of clarity as we recognize what others are trying to take from women and our society, and the anger that will engage from that will catapult this world into a new cycle. Uranus loves a revolution, and this one is fired up in the sign of Taurus, which is our home and hearth. Again, this points to the feminine finally having had enough. Women were not made to live in the kitchen and just have babies, nor were they built to deal with men who never really grew up. Women have their own dreams, and now that they see that plainly, that others intend to take away what has been the norm for over half a century, they have had it. Add to this distress, companies and corporations will see the writing on the walls and recognize that all their greedy tax breaks are doomed to continue, and they will begin to pull the money into their pockets and cause changes in the financial markets because of this shift in awareness. The gig is up, and they cannot play their games of greed the way they have for the past many years. What is clear is that we are seeing that the people have finally taken advantage of, and we have been required to suffer ridiculous price gouging while fat cats sat on their thrones of gold, laughing at us. The people are lowering the boom, and we are about to get politicians into place that will hold them accountable. They know it. They see the trend turning against them, and now they are going to feel the backlash of the people that have figured out how they were being chumped. We have a new moon on September 2nd in Virgo, and it is time to clean up the mess. What we realize with all this Virgo clarity is that no one has our back, and that we now need to take charge of our own health and well-being because the medical systems are atrocious and not remotely adequate for what the people need. This too will have to be revamped, but such a huge system will take time, and until then, we cannot depend on the medical systems. We will have to depend on our own common sense. We are in a personal, physical, and emotional cleanse. We are purifying our thoughts and our bodies. We want a better flow, and we are not going to allow others to overload us, especially since we are doing most of the hard work. On September 4th, Mars goes into Cancer, and we have the energy, gumption, and drive to protect what is rightfully ours. We feel a strong need to protect our family and to move in the direction of honor, honesty, and progress. We have a yearning to fight for what and to take that fight to the places that will give us satisfaction. Logic takes a back seat this month, and we move from the feelings that are deep in our core. Mars sees a new goal and is going to show us how to get there. On September 8th, Mercury will go into Virgo, and a more logical path begins to come into clarity. Communications are engaged in a new way, and people are more willing to give their input and less afraid of what others might think. All this Virgo energy gets us going in more practical and detailed ways, and that is good because we are heading into the eclipse zone. We feel eclipses 6 weeks before and 6 weeks after, so this whole month we are fully feeling this powerful energy. On September 17th, we have the first lunar eclipse happening in the Pisces Virgo trajectory. Altogether, we will have 7 of these in this cycle over the next 2.5 years. The next one in Virgo will be October 2nd. The lunar eclipse in Pisces is all about ending this terrible cycle of misery that we have been feeling for years. We have to really look at how much resistance we encountered and needed in order to break down the barriers that were holding us back and collapsing us in fear. It will feel as if we are finally taking the reins of our own lives and demand we are heard, and our needs now need to be met fully. The old structures that were antiquated and failing will be clearly collapsing under the weight of so much hate. It is as if light is hitting the old structure, that it is disintegrating and turning to ash. All that hate and darkness was a vampire that was sucking the blood of the people, and now the light has broken through, and those that fed off the people are being destroyed by the light of hope and love. These eclipses throw open the doors and bring the light within, rekindling the truth and the purpose of this life. We have come to the edge of who we've known ourselves to be. We see that we have to let go of these antiquated beliefs because they do not serve the greater good. To stay connected to our spirituality, we have to close a door so that another will open. Then on September 22nd, we hit the fall equinox, and Venus will move into Scorpio. Later on September 26th, Mercury will leave Virgo and go into Libra. We move from an outward and outdoor focus to a more indoor and introspective way of being. Balance is important. Connection with friends and family become even more of a priority. The interesting combination plans on making us look at our relationships and decide what ones are worth the effort and which ones just aren't. We feel clear in our mind about those choices, and that takes a weight off our shoulders and pressure off our minds. There is a sense of great relief as this month concludes. Thanks, everyone.